Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Detail. We have a Jeep here that is completely covered with overspray on everything. Painted surfaces, vinyl, plastic, rubber, glass, you name it. And I am going to show you some of the products that work the best, some that work mediocre, and some that work poorly or not at all. Now this is subjective because overspray can be absolutely anything from an epoxy to a water or solvent-based paint. Just absolutely anything, a varnish or a stain. It's also on the wheels here as well. You can remove overspray either chemically or mechanically, and we're going to go over some of the more popular options here at the shop. And here are just some of the options that we have within arm's reach, and these here I just picked off the shelf that are used more often. I will go over each of these products here, what they are, how they work, and what they work best on. And we even included the nanoskin system that works rather well on some types of overspray. The very first thing you want to do, obviously, is remove any dirt or grittiness from the surface first. So a thorough wash is going to be my first step. Let's start with the painted surfaces. And I'm going to show you what works best on that, and then we're going to show you what works best on vinyl, rubber, plastic, and other trim, because it's going to be a completely different process and or chemical. Let's start off with clay. That seems to be a popular way to remove overspray, and yes, it does work some of the time, and some of the time it doesn't. In this case, another thing that's subjective, by the way, how long the contaminant or overspray has been bonded to the surface. It can actually become one with the surface and etch into the paint if it's been there for quite some time. This has been here for a couple weeks. Clay, in this case, cannot touch it. And we are using an abrasive clay bar. Not much improvement here on today's job. Let's move on. Let's move down onto the flat surface here of this fender flare. Jeeps are tough because they don't have very large flat areas, lots of sharp angles. But if you have large panels that are flat, you can break out the auto scrub system from Nanoskin. This is a synthetic mitt that you can either attach to your hand or a polisher to make quick work of some overspray. If effective, this is one of the easiest ways to remove overspray because you're just guiding a machine back and forth. You should be able to do this all day, and if you're tired from this process, you're doing it completely wrong. Just about every one of these tools or products are going to be found on Amazon. I'm not going to put a link down below. You know where to go for that. No sponsored video here, no affiliate links. I just want to show you what could help you during a job such as this. So we will wipe off the moisture, and I'll tell you one thing it's going to do, it's going to make the surface obviously nice and smooth because it's made to decontaminate paint. And all you have to do is rinse off the synthetic pad here and move on. You can actually get around the vehicle rather quickly if it does have large flat surfaces. And in this case, it worked extremely well removing this overspray. When using this process along with clay, you can plan on doing a little bit of polishing afterwards, especially if the clear is soft. Let's move over to an option that works well for me, either very well or mediocre on a lot of different types of overspray. Works excellent on paint, even works on plastics, headlights, taillights. I would stay away from vinyl. Some of these you're going to have to flush immediately afterwards, especially if you're going to back it out into direct sunlight. I wouldn't do anything in direct sunlight. Work in a shaded, sheltered area, flush, which means wash or use a rinseless afterwards. And it does, okay on this. This paint here has been on so long, it has actually almost become one with the surface of the paint. Let's move on to another popular product we use here, Citrol 266. You want to spray this on. Spray it on the surface and then onto your towel and let the two soak a little bit and then start working the product into the paint. and try to rub the overspray off. This process is okay, but a little slow. It quickly removes the very tiny dots of overspray. The larger ones, you may have to go over it 2 or 3 times. Total Remover is a coating and a sealant remover, and sometimes on different types of overspray, especially waterborne overspray, this stuff can remove it, but it has to be a very fine mist. In this case, it doesn't even touch it. Polishing the overspray, when or if it works, is fantastic because you're actually finishing off 2 steps at once. You are removing the overspray, polishing at the same time, and it really cuts down the time you're putting into the job. If it works, I find it works maybe 30-40% of the time. In this case, I'll pass. Let's move on to the next method. And that is going to be something I find locally at a local auto body supply store. This is an adhesive remover, sticker remover, and can remove many other things, including overspray, depending on what it is. So always find a test area in an inconspicuous spot down low and see if it works. In this case, nope, not happy with this one. Bowl of Solutions in the same category, but is a little bit stronger. The one you could find locally, those are really watered down because anybody can get their hands on them. So let's give this one a shot. Bowl of Solutions was able to get some of the real tiny dots off of there, but that's going to be about it. You would have to do quite a few passes to get it done. Let's move to the heavy hitters. Now you have to be careful with these. Obviously, this is an economy thinner here. It's thinned out a bit, it's watered down a little bit, but this is a solvent. And when you're using solvents on medium and hard clear, you don't have to worry quite as much. On soft clear, you can get into trouble. So again, a very small, inconspicuous area to do some testing. This will remove most overspray quickly. All right, enough with the painted surfaces. I gave you a few that work very well. How about plastic, vinyl, rubber, trim, and other anodized surfaces? Let's start with the vinyl here. And we're going to use denatured alcohol. The CP1010 works absolutely fantastic on just about all of those surfaces. Again, you don't need to use 50 square foot ton of pressure down on the surface. Get a little bit of the product onto a microfiber, not directly onto the surface, and lightly scrub and get to the point where it's like a firm handshake, if that makes sense at all, and you'll find it works perfectly fine without harming the surface. Vinyl decals are 3 layers: an adhesive layer, a color or a decorative layer, and then a sheath or a film on top that protects the color or decorative layer from UVA UVB and IR. And it's a very, very thin membrane, so be very careful. And then I'll demonstrate on other pieces of trim, but it works great on not only vinyl, but plastic, rubber, satin or matte paints, anodized, powder coatings. Again, just be careful with the pressure that you're scrubbing with and flush immediately afterwards. Once you find the team that works well on the surface and works well on the overspray, it shouldn't take you all that long, maybe a few hours to get around the vehicle and remove from all surfaces. The Jeep is looking fantastic again, and you can polish or protect from there. So this is the group that works the best. Be careful with these. The Nanoskin is the safest out of all of these. You'll need to polish afterwards. The group in the middle worked okay. The Rapid Remover Citrol and the Bola. So that's a chemical way to do the work. And then finally, the group to the left here didn't have success today, but can on other fine mist or oversprays. Let us know what works for you down in the comment section. If the video has helped, like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed, hit the notification bell. That'll let you know when we have new content available. I'll catch you in the next video.